Okay, so I've got a '04 Duramax LLY, and this has been aggravating me for a little while, more of an annoyance than anything. Driving down the road with the air conditioner on, it's 110 degrees outside, and then all of a sudden the air conditioner starts blowing full blast heat. It's not that the AC quit working, it is actually blowing heat, hot air, like I turned on the heater. And then I noticed that it was only doing it on that vent and that vent, but the two passenger vents were blowing cold air. So that led me to, it must be a blend door that's not working. And I did find that there is a blend door that controls the driver's side, and it's right up here underneath the hump for the transmission, and I've already taken it out. But this little widget is a blend door actuator, and it sits up in here like that with your plug-in right here. So that's what it looks like when you take it apart. So how this works is, when this is sitting in there, it's got this gear right here, and this turns a door inside the duct. So there's a door in here like this, and it's turning one way or the other like that, and that door is either gonna blow you cold air or hot air to the driver's side. So what's happening is something's going on in here, and it's just automatically switching to hot air. There is another actuator for the passenger side, and I think that actuator is somewhere up in here, so luckily that one is not messing up. It's the easy one. For a quick fix, what you could do is you can actually just reach up in here, and while you've got the truck running, you can grab a hold of that door and turn it to either hot or cold, and you can probably just leave it like that. If you know that's all you're going to use is just the air conditioner, that would be a cheap, easy fix if you're on the road. I did take this thing apart already, and explain a little bit more about that later, but I got to put it back together. I broke a few tabs along the edges, so I got it taped pretty good back together. I looked it up online at O'Reilly's. A new one of these was $150. I didn't really want to spend today, but pretty sure I figured out the problem. I'm going to put this back up in there, see if that's what it is, and see if it works. Give you an update later. But this was real easy. It's only 2 screws holding it up there. I used a 5.5 millimeter in this widget. It's just a little handheld ratchet, forward, backward. Makes life easier. But we'll put that in there. I do have to do a reset on the HVAC, because it's got to go through a reset process because I took this apart. So it now needs to figure out the limits forward and backward on this door that I'm talking about. And so it's gonna do it's gonna cycle this switch through, and it's gonna turn forward and backward, and it's gonna check what those limits are, because everything's electronic. And in order to do that, really all I've got to do is take out a fuse under the hood just to reset that. And that fuse is up under here. This is the HVAC ECAS. It's a 10 amp. So that's what I took out right there. I'm going to give that a few minutes. I'll put that back in, and then what I'll do is I'll turn the key on, let it do its cycle for a couple minutes, turn the key back off, and then I'll turn the truck on and see if it's working. I'll let you guys know. So this is my blend door actuator that I took out, and I took it apart to see what was going on in here. Get it back together here. As you can see, all we've got is a little motor with its positive and negative. So all this motor does is spin forward or backward. It's just a little worm gear. That worm gear turns this gear, which in turn turns this gear, which then turns this gear, which eventually turns this. And this is what your blend door is actually sticking into. And so when this turns, that turns the door inside the duct. After taking out the gears and pulling this up, this can only turn so far before it reaches its limit. So that's a limit on one side, and then it would turn, and then it would hit a limit on the other side. So how this thing knows how far it's turning is on the bottom of this. It has these copper things, and these, whenever it turns, are hitting these points. So you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. So with the integrated circuit here, it knows exactly where the blend door is. If it were my guess, I would say that the reason why these are failing is probably because this is losing contact somewhere on this board. And when it loses contact, it probably has a fail-safe where it takes the motor and then takes it all the way to full heat, and then that's where it stays. So anyways, that's my thoughts. So yeah, that seemed to be the fix for me. It used to happen to me quite frequently. I've been driving here for a while and it hasn't happened at all. So, you know, I can check it. It's a dual climate control, so you got driver's side, you got passenger side. Right now it's blowing cold, it's on cold. Turn it to heat. Give it a couple seconds, it's blowing heat. Back to cold. It goes cold. Do the same thing on the passenger side. It's blowing heat. Go back to cold. It's going good. But yeah, no, that's why these things are doing this. Whenever they design these systems, they put the fail safes in, and what that means is when the system fails, it's gonna fail to a position that would be safer than a different position. So they're gonna make the system fail so it always turns to heat, because it would probably be a more life or death situation. If you're stuck in a blizzard and you're freezing to death, you need the heat. That would probably be more of a life or death situation than if you're summertime driving around and if it fails to heat like it is right now. Anyways, that's how I would design it if I were an engineer. But anyways, that was fixed for me. Hope it saves some money for somebody, and I guess Dorman Products can stop shoving $150 parts down our throats that we don't need. So anyways, catch you later.